Hello YouTube, this is Lynn Afros. Karibu sana to my channel, and if this is your first time here, I hope you stay. Today we are talking about planting tomatoes. What does it really take to plant lots of tomatoes and not leaves? Because tomatoes are quite delicate. We call them the slay-queen plant because any little mistake and you might lose your entire crop. And so what does it really take to grow healthy tomatoes that are going to ensure you get your productivity right and your profits right as well? So the first thing is to select quality seeds. Quality seeds are usually the F1 type because they're going to be resistant to diseases, and that means it's going to give you easy time in growing your tomatoes. These right here are Ansal F1 seeds. ANSAL, Ansal F1 seeds. They're quite quality and they've been doing great, as you can see. These are the first batch of 500 plants, and we also planted another batch of 500 plants. So in total we have 1,000 plants right here on the ground. And so I'm inspecting to see if there's anything needed here, because when you plant tomatoes, you don't want to be living far away. You cannot telephone farm with tomatoes because a day is going to make a whole lot of difference. You have to be close by, you have to inspect daily, you have to be there present and committed if you want to see your crop thrive. So what does it take to grow? Let's get into it. The first thing, you have your quality seeds, and then you manage your nursery bed well. And if you cannot, if you doubt your ability to manage the nursery bed, you can acquire the seedlings from qualified suppliers. So if you get your seedlings, these little babies right here, you can now start with planting them. And so let's do this systematically. You have your seedlings, they are ready for planting. Prepare your land, apply a herbicide if possible to minimize the weeds so that they don't compete with your crop. And then after you now have your seedlings ready and everything is ready, you can now start by planting them. You can use a fungicide of your choice to drench the soil before in the holes you want to plant your tomatoes before you start, because that's going to minimize the chances of dumping off. Dumping off is when your seedlings are attacked and they start dropping by the stem, where the stem meets the soil. So there's a little microorganism that does that. So when you drench your soil, by that I mean you apply that directly to your soil at the planting stage or a day or two after planting, then they're going to minimize the chances of you losing your crop because of those microorganisms or fungal infections. So once you have your crop ready, I apply the fertilizer, the planting fertilizer, a day or two after, because in most cases you're going to plant with water. You drench your soil, you plant with water, especially if it's during the dry season, and then a day or two later you can now apply your fertilizer a little distance away from the stem to avoid burning your crop. After that, now you apply the planting fertilizer of your choice depending on your region, and then you start now managing the crop in a 7-day cycle. After every 7 days, you're going to apply. So tomatoes, there's no way you're going to have tomatoes in the market that do not have lots of sprays. That's a blatant lie. If anyone tells you they have organic tomatoes, they're likely to be those with spots, those that didn't really do so well, because tomatoes are delicate and they're attacked by pests and diseases so easily. So for you to ensure that your crop is going to be safe from all these attacks, you have to spray with a 7-day cycle, and the spray is going to contain a fungicide, an insecticide, a foliar fertilizer. Those three you can apply these and interchange them. So if you did this type of fungicide this week, you can interchange with another one the following week, and so on, because the pests have a tendency of now beginning to resist the products you are using over time. So you cannot use them continuously. You can break the cycle, and lots of people have their nutritional guide that you can follow to know exactly which agent to target at every week so that you have maximum productivity. If it's during the rainy season where the rain now washes away your foliars, you're now going to ensure that you apply even 2 times a week if possible, because you want to fight the attacks as much as possible. And if the rain is washing away your chemicals immediately you apply them, then it's most likely that you are not going to prevent or cushion them from the attacks as much as you will want. But if the rains are not there, it's a dry climate, you're using irrigation, then it's likely that you won't have to do twice a week. Once a week is okay, and sometimes some people do it even after every 14 days. So the foliar applications, you start with the vegetative one, which targets nitrogen, because the young plants want to grow as much as possible. The vegetative phase is where now they're growing the branches and the leaves. And then later you switch on to the flower and fruit foliar. I used Easy Grow for everything. So during the flowering stage, as you can see right here, we use the flower and fruit foliar, or it's just a type of fertilizer that you dissolve in water and spray onto the leaves. So this you can combine with your other the fungicide and the insecticide. Once the fruits start forming now, then you can switch on to the calcium foliar, which is going to ensure that your little budding fruits are going to be as firm and strong as possible. And this is going to help you to prevent calcium deficiency, which might manifest in the form of blossom end rot. Besides these foliar applications, you have to also apply some granular form of fertilizer. So you started with the planting one and you move on to Yara products. Yara products are really good and straightforward in ensuring that your plant has maximum nutritional value added to them. So the first one is the Yara Growth Booster that you start at the very early stages, and then you switch on to the Yara Nutriball and eventually you move on to Yara Winner. So these are the fertilizers you have to apply consistently and at regular intervals throughout the planting season up until the time you harvest, and these are going to give the plant all the nutrients that they desire. So another thing that you have to consider is now maintaining your garden or your farm clean to avoid the spread or even the start of pests and diseases. And one of the things that can help with this is, of course, weeding and ensuring that your ground is as clean and free from weeds as possible. And then you also need to prune. Pruning removes all these excess leaves at the bottom that are going to invite or attract pests and diseases because they are in touch with the soil, and the soil is often a source of so many diseases, so you don't want that. So you prune all the lower leaves and leave your farm clean for easy air circulation and also to avoid the spread of pests and diseases. Another thing you have to do is to stake your plants, because this is going to help them to stay upright and do not to touch the ground or bend or break during the planting season. Mulching is also a good practice to retain moisture and to also prevent the back splashing of water against the leaves, the lower leaves, to further prevent your crops from being attacked by pests and diseases. Once the fruits are now have now started to form, you can also apply malt K to help sweeten and enhance the fruit as much as possible for them before now they're ready for harvest. If water is a challenge where you are, if the rain in your region is not reliable, you want to have a solution for water beforehand. You want to find out ways in which you're going to provide water consistently for the plant beforehand. Because if you start off with the rains and then the rain stops at a critical age such as this, when you have fruits and flowers forming, then this is going to be a big problem. For starts, of course, water is life and every plant will need water lest it starts to wilt and dry and die off. But again, even if it doesn't die off, when you start off with the rainy season and it gives you a good supply of water for the crop all through its growth span, or the lifespan of that plant, and then all of a sudden the dry season comes, sets in, it's going to affect the quality of your fruit, and in most cases it leads to blossom end rot. In the next video, I'm going to talk about blossom end rot, the causes, and what you can do to prevent it. I hope you stay around for that. Stay tuned for that video that's going to come up soon. Thank you for watching this far. Leave a comment down below and tell me your experience in planting tomatoes, because we can learn from each other. Until the next time, remember to always stay on the sunny side of life. Bye.